What's up everyone, Op Soldier here today, and we are going to make this a consistent thing where I will go over kind of like just a recap on what has happened in the fighting game community, at least when it comes to Mortal Kombat. So obviously you guys know Combo Breaker happened over the weekend. Kind of a first thing I want to just announce to everyone, if you are playing Mortal Kombat on PC, you need to get a console and play on console. I cannot stress how important it is to learn the console timings. I went back and I played on console. I'm only playing on console as of now. If you've seen some of the footage that you're watching right now, most of it is console gameplay. And you can see I am dropping combos, I am trying to punish throws, by reading them, and the timing is just way off. They're not anywhere near the same. Even if it's like 4 to 6 frames, it is super noticeable. I can't react to things Sindel are doing on the screen. Sindel is like a viable character on console. Like, I have to make more reads in certain situations. Like, console is not the same. It is not the same. PC is way more fluid. Console is dookie. Like, I'm sorry, compared to PC, console is not anywhere near the same. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. I suggest you go to your locals. That's probably the best way to do it. Go to your locals, practice in locals. If not, get a console, play online on console. At least you'll kind of get used to the timing on console. If you want to stream console games, you can. It's very easy. You just have to set up remote play and then connect it to your OBS. You do not need a capture card. If your internet is good enough, you can just use remote play. So nothing really changes. The only difference is you got to put like $60 towards like a PSN or an Xbox Live account. But aside from that, like nothing else changes when it comes to like streaming. So you'll be able to play a bigger player base, and in the process get used to the console timing. Again, console is shit. It's horrible. Holy moly. I can't believe how bad it is. But that's just a suggestion to people who play MK11 and people who play Street Fighter 5. You probably want to get used to the console timing. So here's the thing. First of all, let me go over just kind of the results of Combo Breaker. Congrats to Nicholas. You did a great job. It's amazing watching you and your brother play. You guys are doing amazing. I can't wait to see more gameplay. I want to see Sonic play you guys. Seeing Rewind play you guys, like, now I can see that you guys know how MK11 plays and you have a really good grasp on the game. I look forward to seeing more international people compete when it comes to Mortal Kombat 11. So I'll kind of save like the competition between the US and the international players for another video. But today I kind of just wanted to talk about some of the results of characters we saw in the top 32 and the top 8. I figured that would be kind of an interesting thing to talk about. So we saw a Fujin, a KABALL, we saw Kotal Kahn, we saw Cetrion, we saw Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Aaron Black, Shao Kahn, Collector, Jackie Briggs, Cassie Cage, Robocop, Frost, Spawn, Raiden, Devora, Nightwolf, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Garrus, Noob Saibot, Terminator, and Rambo. That is in the top, or that's in pools, sorry. In the top 32, we saw Raiden, Kotal Kahn, Fujin, Kano, KABALL, Terminator, Cetrion, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, Garrus, and we did see a counterpick with Jade, but it didn't go very well. So obviously here, like, this is kind of a pretty big variety. Now the top 8, I think, is where most people had their complaints, because in top 8 we saw like Cetrion, Fujin, one Garrus, which was just Gur, who's a character loyalist, a bunch of Kotal Kahns, a bunch of Johnnies, and we saw, I think, 2 Kanos. So it seems like Kano might be the counterpick for some of the top characters. My only issue with Kano, like, I like Kano. I think Kano is a very well-designed character when it comes to a top character. Obviously, like, I have my issues with him being too easy, but I think he deals with the top really well. The only problem is he gets hard counterpicked by characters like Johnny, Garrus, and Jackie. Like that, those matchups are horrible. So basically, if you go in playing Kano, if they know a Johnny, or they know a Garrus, or they know a Jackie, it's pretty much game over for Kano. Like, you really have to adapt and you have to change your play style when you play Kano if you play against those 3 characters, because they just duck your spit and you're pretty much dead. Something I found kind of interesting is that VGY did play Shao Kahn for a counter pick when it seemed like more of a desperation pick, but something I did notice is like in one of the games, he like got 2 combos and the round was over. Like, it's kind of crazy how much Shao Kahn, if he capitalizes on mistakes, he can just do like 2 hits and the game is over. So there's just something I figured I would share. So we did see a spawn. I missed the spawn too. We saw a spawn also from Nicholas. I would argue that Spawn is probably a little bit higher than Shao Kahn, just simply because Spawn can do more damage and be safe. Shao Kahn is more of a risky character. Once he takes that one risk, he can win, but he's got to take the risk, right? We didn't see that many such rounds just simply because most of the players were picking either Kodal or Fujin. That was like the big picks I saw, like from Rewind, or from Scorpion Prox, from Aztec. And I've been talking about this forever. Like, the reason why Kodal's picked the most is because you don't have to deal with the Duck OS, right? You have to guess. You have to jump or you have to block, like one of the two. But either way, like it's a hard read, right? So obviously we're gonna see more Kodals just simply because of that. The game is dominated by Duck OS. I am still getting people Duck OSing me in Kombat League when I'm playing Kano, and Kano is not even a Duck OS-able character. Like, his command grab comes out in the same frame as his mid. They both come out in that 13 frames. So people are just Duck OSing because they can. Like, it's not even like I guess it's kind of a way that Foxy put it, like, people will still Duck OS even if like they come out in the same frame because they can, right? The thing is, you can't Duck OS against Kodal at all. Like, you can't Duck OS. Like, you can't do it, because if you do it, you're gonna get thrown anyway. So I think Foxy has a point there. But I still find it kind of interesting. People kind of want to gamble their life away, because like, if I do a mid, like, you're still gonna get launched if you try to Duck OS. Like, they're the same timing, but it's whatever. We saw some Johnny. We saw quite a few Johnnies. I was surprised. Obviously, we saw Johnny with VGY and Kombat in top 16 in the mirror. That was one of the most interesting games I've ever seen. It was cool that, like, I'm glad like people are still, like, despite the top 5 being ridiculous, like, people are still agreeing to like a gentleman's wager, and they're deciding to play like mirror matches just to prove who's the best of whatever character. I think that's really cool. So that was cool to see. We saw Johnny from Scorpion Prox, Rewind, and Nicholas. So it seems like Johnny is a consensus good pick against Kabal. I totally forgot about Kabal. But we saw, Johnny against Kabal. It seems like, I don't know if it's like because he has a really good standing jab or he just has good neutral. I don't know what it is, but it seems like people really like picking Johnny against Kabal, which is kind of interesting because Kabal has all the mids and then Johnny doesn't have any mids. So I think it's a combination of his force balls, his, rising star, and then like his ability to anti-air withstand 1. I think it makes it a little bit harder for Kabal to get out of the to stay in the air, which is really interesting because we did see the one counter pick with Rewind playing against Kerbo, and he played Shang Tsung. And something I liked about Shang Tsung that I kind of noted during the play was Shang Tsung kind of can counter both of what Kabal does, right? Like, he can do the force lift to deal with Kabal's jump, and it's really hard for Kabal to punish the force lift. Like, he's got to, react instantly with Nomad Dash. And then he can also do the smoke parry on the projectile. So Kabal can't just do whatever he wants, right? Like, he can't just throw projectiles willy-nilly or jump willy-nilly, because Shang Tsung has 2 answers to both options. So that's something I find really, really cool, and I think that people should consider when playing Shang against Kabal. I think the fact that you can get Kabal out of the air, that's one of the number one things you want to do. Like, you don't want to get stuck in block stun forever. It's kind of like pre-patch Jackie. Like, you don't just want to get stuck in block stun forever. Like, you want to have some options. Even if you don't exercise those options, the threat of those options are going to make the Kabal player play differently, right? And obviously Shang Tsung has better ground movement than Kabal. Like, that's unarguable. He also has something, he has, the corpse drop. So corpse drop can deal with Kabal from far away. So he's kind of like, in a way, like, it kind of reminds me of Frost. Like, Frost has multiple options to a lot of things Kabal does. She's got the dive kick, she's got the good anti-air, she's got back forward 3, the head. She also has the micro burst. or not microburst, but the Capri Sun move. So I think Shang is just a better version of Frost in this situation. He's got a lot of options to deal with Kabal. So, but as you saw, Kabal's going to just keep jumping, because even when Rewind was anti-airing with Force Lift, he actually lost because he mistimed the Force Lift and Kabal jumped over it and punished him. So Kabal, I think he has an argument for being top 3. Honestly, I put him in top 4. He might be top 3. We just keep seeing him too consistently with both Kerbo and the brothers, and obviously like Fujin is unarguable one of the best characters in the game. We've been putting him in top 4 forever. It was kind of interesting to not see Jackie this time around and not see as many Cetrions. I think we might have saw one Jackie. So, and obviously, just going back to Lu and Garrus, the reason why Lu and Garrus just aren't picked as much as the other characters is because Lu really has an issue with range. I can't stress how important that is for people to understand. Like, if you watch any games against Lu, people are flawless blocking the projectiles, working their way in, and Lu just basically having to contend with his shit range, right? Like, the player that I was watching, he had to whiff 1, 2, 3s in the neutral. That is not a winning strategy. I don't care what people think about 1, 2, 3 being fast. That is not, against the highest level of players, whiffing buttons in the neutral is not a winning strategy. It's just not. And that's why I still think Lu is outside of top 5. Same thing with Garrus. Garrus is outside of top 5 just simply because the characters that are in the top 5 jump a shit ton, and Garrus, even though he has answers to that, one of his main tools is invalidated against those characters. He can't use Sand Trap against characters like Jackie, Kabal, Fujin. For the most part, they're just not going to have to deal with it. Even Cetrion, like, they're just not going to have to deal with it. So, Garrus is a strong character. He's a very good counter pick to characters like Kano, Terminator, you know, those characters, but to be honest with you, like, he's just not going to do as well as he has to sit outside of top 5 because of how the top 5 play, right? Excluding Joker, I guess. And then finally, I want to just talk about Raiden really quick. We saw 2 Raidens in top 32. I've been saying this forever. Raiden is one of the most underrated characters in the game. I was labbing him a little bit yesterday. Raiden can punish pretty much every fatal blow with teleport. It's kind of crazy. Like, he just has so much mobility and so many options against a lot of top characters. Now, yes, he gets jumped on consistently, but he's got, even once he gets his turn, he's got strong staggers. He can do a stagger into teleport away and zone out certain characters. He's just a solid counter pick, solid anti-zoner, and he can deal with characters really well, in my opinion. I think Raiden and Terminator are 2 of the most underused, underrated characters in all of Mortal Kombat 11. I think if someone picks up Terminator and someone picks up Raiden, they make them shine in the right areas, they could be just as well as some of the top characters like Fujin and Cetrion. I just think that they're just overlooked because either they're boring to play or they might take a little bit more work than those characters. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I will do another video soon over multiverses and my final opinions on the game, but this is kind of all I wanted to talk about. I guess I will just kind of mention again, like, Kombat League is, like, console Kombat League is so bad. Like, I promise you guys, hey, if you're doing console Kombat League, only do it because you're trying to get better at your fundamentals. Don't worry about the players you're playing on the other end. Like, if you saw these games, like, you can tell, like, I'm just dropping combos because console is just so bad. Like, do not get frustrated at Kombat League. Kombat League is not a good place to test your skill, in my opinion. Look for really good games against really good players. Use Kombat League as a way to get your combos down, get your fundamentals down, but do not worry about it, man. I had a new player, like, you probably saw it earlier, he's just mashing after every single time I hit him with a plus frame. And because console is just, it's harder to jail everything, it's harder to frame trap everything, I kept getting mashed out. So, like, just don't let that stuff bother you. Just focus on getting better. And congrats again to Nicholas and Scorpion Prox and all the top 8 players, Rewind, all those guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have fun playing MK11 and fighting games.